Okay, so now I'm gonna look at the spout for my teapot, and I'm gonna make mine coming off here and sort of arcing up. We talked about that arc. So, and the opening of the spout should be at the height of the tallest point, okay? It can't be below that or the water will pour out. So I need it to come here and come up. Now the best spouts are a taper. So I do have some patterns for you to play around with. We have the whale tail spouts that are 4 different sizes. And these have been at student requests. We've just made up different sizes depending on what they want. I actually think I might take spout 4 and cut it if I need to, or maybe spout 1 because it's the widest. You may have to try a couple times so that you get that tall enough. No, maybe I'll do this one. And then we also have the pizza slice spout, which sometimes I make a little taller. We do it as a pizza slice, and then you just chop the top part off. So right now, I just have 2 sizes in the pizza slice. So what I'm gonna do is cut these out of a fairly thin piece of clay that's been compressed. I like my spouts to be a little thinner or they're hard to work with. So now what I want to do is take this spout, and I have different forms for you to use to curve it around. We have these spout makers. Some are longer, and they're not, like my pieces aren't going to meet on the other side, but it just gets me going. Now, one thing I forgot to do is to thin down the lip so it pours nicely. So I'm just going to take my thumb, just like I did with that flange, and just thin it down so when it pours, it has a really nice thin lip on it. So now that I've curled it around a spout maker, I'm gonna score and slip it together. So I'm gonna score that and slip that, and I'm gonna do that same thing with a pizza slice spout, and then we're gonna compare the two. Okay, I'd like to show you another way to make a spout besides the whale tail, the pizza slice spout. And this way you're gonna have a little more control over the form. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a solid piece of clay and shape it into the spout I want. I'm gonna make it wider at the part where it attaches and then narrower as it goes up. So I'll work on that and then talk to you about what you do with a solid spout. Okay, I have some of my solid spouts here, and they still need a little bit of work. This one I pinched into shape and pushed down so that it looks like the classic spout where it's wider here and then goes up. And I can cut this off a little bit, but I can also do that when I hollow it out. So we're gonna hollow these out. This one is triangular and it still needs a little bit of work. To get it really looking good, I can take my forming tool, my filing tool, and really get those edges nice and sharp so that I have a nice triangular spout. I did let this one dry just a little bit. And then this one here is still a bit soft, but this one's square. So it's hard to get a spout to the shape that you want it when you're sculpting it hollow. So in some cases we do better by making it solid and then hollowing it out. So I would continue to file this down till I had a really nice square in the shape that I wanted it to be. Okay, so what do I do now? I'm going to cut my spout in half. And believe it or not, this is what we do to sculpture. So it feels like you're gonna wreck it. But you're gonna hollow that out now and then put it back together. So that's what I'll do now. I'm gonna take my loop tool here, and usually what I do is I'll draw just inside so the walls are about 1/4 of an inch. And I'll hold it in my hand, and sometimes I'll put my thumb here so that I have something to go against, and as I take it out, it just hits my thumb, and then I pull it out like that. So I'm gonna hollow that out now and then show you when I'm finished. Okay, now that I have the two sides hollow, it's about 1/4 of an inch, and I did smooth it out so that that water has a nice flow out of my spout. I'll smooth it out this way. And so now I'm gonna score it, slip and score it back together, or score and slip. Now you do have to make sure that these walls do not, or the spout itself does not get too narrow here, or glaze can fill it in. So it definitely needs to be bigger than 1/4 of an inch. Even a pencil is a little too small because you don't want that glaze to fill in. And it does take a little bit of effort to make it look good, smooth it out. And then once I have it all together and blended, I can smooth the inside seam. And if you have to add a little coil in there, that's okay. So I would work on this, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 more minutes. And then I really have the shape of the spout that I want, and it gives me a little more control over it. So I'll continue to work on this, and then next up is putting the spout on your teapot. Okay, I have my two spouts made, and I've given them a good arc. That's the pizza slice spout, and then this is the whale tail spout. So now what I'm gonna do is try to decide which one I like better. So if this one goes on here, looks a little big to me. It goes above the lid and really arcs up. Now I could do one of two things. I could cut it at an angle so that it were a little smaller. This one looks a little big too. But I think I'm in more of the right spot with this one. As far as the look I want and how I want it to pour, I just have to get that to arc a little bit more. And I think that's a little more the look that I want. So next up, I gotta pick, and then next up, I will show you how to put it on. Okay, this one's a little hard to see, but I did pick my spout, and I have it in the place I want it to be. And so I'm gonna take it and look at it from several different angles, and then I am going to trace around it. So now that I have it marked there, you can see how much I arced it, and then I also bellied it out a little bit. You know, I have a little more work to do on it, but I have it in the shape that I want it to be. And the other thing that you should do is take a paintbrush or a pencil and make sure that it hasn't closed off. You know, I arced it quite a bit. And make sure the water has some nice flow in here, that there's no seam in there for the water to kind of have turbulence. We want it to flow really nice out of the teapot. Okay, if I want to make tea with tea leaves, I need to make a sieve here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife, and just inside that line that I made, I'm going to poke some holes. Some potters will use drill bits. Some potters will use hole pokes, but you need to make sure that they're at least 1/4 inch wide, or the glaze will fill them in and you won't be able to make anything. The tea leaves will not stay inside, or the tea will stay inside along with the tea leaves. Some of the Yijing teapots will have a separate little basket sieve, which is kind of cool. Now I'm going to have to try to stick my hand inside and smooth out the inside so there's no sharp edges, no little bits of clay. But I'll show you what that looks like. Now if you don't want a sieve, you can cut it just 1/4 inch inside. So you're going to cut the hole inside the line that you made. Because the tea spout, this teapot spout, sits on top of the teapot. So now I'm going to go around and I'll add this on and show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, I have my spout on along with my lid, and my spout reaches up. It does come a little bit above where that top is, but that's okay, as long as it's not below it. And next up, we will have our handle.